What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day. Bryan Kohberger is being investigated for other homicides in Pennsylvania. Now, that makes me wonder, have they found anything? Or do they have reason to suspect that he is guilty of something else in Pennsylvania? I mean, it triggers me back to the Post when he was young and how he went through this change and his whole personality changed from the fat, dumpy kid who had no friends to he lost a bunch of weight, started going to the gym, started making friends. They didn't say he was popular, but they said he had a friend group and that he was more outgoing after that summer. And it makes you wonder, are they looking into things that went on at that time? Are they looking that far back? Or is it just back to 2021, right before he moved from Pennsylvania to Washington? Is that why? Because I know a lot of people are floating the theories that maybe he moved from Pennsylvania to Washington in order to commit these murders. But maybe he moved from Pennsylvania to Washington to get away from something that he did back there. Maybe all this is just nothing, and of course they're looking into other homicides. Why wouldn't they? But until they find something, it's not really news, right? I don't know. Let's check this out from News Nation and see what they have to say about it.
All right, so we all know that right now Bryan Kohberger is sitting in an Idaho prison, right? He's awaiting trial for the murders of 4 college students. But tonight, I can report to you exclusively that authorities in Pennsylvania, where he was arrested, are investigating potential involvement in other outstanding homicides. Now, how would this work and why would they be doing this? We have answers.
So, obviously, like I said, they're saying he's investigated in other homicides, right? They're seeing if he might be involved in these other homicides. I feel like they would do that regardless. When somebody is arrested and suspected of this and it's got this much attention, I feel like police would also check to see if he fit the description for other things. Now, are they finding anything? Tell us that they're finding something, and then we're exclusively reporting it. But until then, you're just telling us what we already understood to be the case.
Counselor, you had heard similar to what I just reported, yes?
Yes, I have heard similar, and not just in this case, but virtually every high-profile case that is a circumstantial murder case, evidence murder case, you almost inevitably hear of some other unsolved murder, and law enforcement looks to see if they can link whoever the suspect is.
And why?
Right, because I mean, there's so many cases that go unsolved. You know, it's not like we're out here catching every bad guy. So there's so many cases. So if somebody proves that they're capable of doing something like that, then of course anything that seems like it might match or be in the same vicinity or even just be available to him to be able to do and have done, they're gonna question, did he have something to do with this, right? Now, I mean, if they come out and they start finding cases that you have no reason to connect him to, like seemingly you don't really have a reason to connect him here unless the Instagram stuff is true, right? So if they start having other cases like that they're starting to find information on him, I can imagine a whole nother can of worms opening up online with everybody saying how they're trying to frame him and how they're trying to convict him of other stuff that he didn't do just to make it seem more likely that he did this. You know how the conspiracies get online, right? And hey, sometimes I'm one of them. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Do they have anything is my question. What is the reason for reporting something that we assume they were? That's what this guy just said. Yeah, every case, every high profile case is like that. Of course you're going to look into it. So do they have anything?
That is?
Well, for one thing, I suppose it fills a vacuum. Why did somebody do this when you don't have a motive? That is the most obvious.
They don't have a motive for this, so if we couldn't find somebody with a motive for this other crime, maybe they had something to do with it too.
And also, you know, the cynic in me, the defense lawyer in me, always suspects that it's a way to dirty somebody up. I mean, you know.
What I tell you, already. It's a way to dirty somebody up. I guess that would work though, because if you're thinking about it, you just automatically kind of stop thinking about what's going on, what do they have against him in the Idaho case, and you start focusing your attention a little more on, is he connected over here? Is he connected to this one? Is he connected to that one? Maybe it could be. See, I told you I get into this conspiracy stuff, but for right now, I just want to hear, is there anything that would give us a reason to believe he is connected to another case in Pennsylvania? Is there a reason that they said it, or are they just saying, yeah, this is normal procedure, and Chris Cuomo is just jumping on it like the leech he is?
If there's any doubt as to the presumption of innocence, all you got to do is throw in the fact that he's also suspected of homicides that occurred in some other jurisdiction, and let that kind of gain a foothold in the zeitgeist, if you will.
He's just feeding the conspiracy people right now. I mean, I thought I was feeding them when I said they're going to come up with this theory, but I didn't realize that he was about to do it too.
It's hard to combat that. How do you prove that?
On balance, I understand the concern, and certainly the presumption must be preserved. However, he's got plenty of problems on his plate in terms of what he's got to deal with. They don't need to smear him. Help us understand, from the investigative perspective, what it is that they see in Kohberger that makes them think, to the extent that it's not just automatic that they do this. What kinds of things here would spark that kind of interest, and what would they be doing?
So that's exactly what Chris Cuomo is asking. My question is what he asked right there. You got to respect him for that. You know, what is it? Is there something going on that would make this come out, that would make this be said, that would be relevant at all other than a duh?
Well, specifically, if they have a case that fits the modus operandi, which is just fancy words for the way of doing something that matches what happened in Idaho, for instance, is the target a young, beautiful co-ed? Was the weapon of choice a knife? Was the arrival and departure of the individual in a vehicle as opposed to being dropped off or by foot? Was the time chosen at this 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock time frame? How about the surveillance, geo-tracking, if you will, that would have been done of the phones? Is there any surveillance or witness account of somebody being dressed like Bryan Kohberger dressed?
Basically, is there anything in those other cases that has anything to do with something going on here? Was it somebody that was stabbed with that type of knife? Was it somebody that was murdered with a knife? Was it a young co-ed girl? Was it a blonde girl? Was it a young blonde girl? Did he have connection with them in some way on the internet before? Did his phone tracking, like anything that they could say, yes, he had the ability to do this, so let's see if he did. There's anything like that that connects to what happened in this crime that he hasn't been convicted of yet. If there's anything like that, they're going to look for that there to say, yeah, Bryan Kohberger, you did this because you did this other crime. Even though he hasn't been convicted of doing this crime this way, they're going to investigate him for that. But if they start finding stuff, then there's a pretty good likelihood that if he did commit this one, then he probably committed these over here too. But the interesting thing would be is if they find stuff over here and they can't prove this one, are they still allowed to investigate him on these? Because they're different cases, but the only reason you're looking at him is because of something else that he was found not guilty of. I don't know. That gets hairy. That feels like something that would happen with this case, though.
And in your experience, looking into something like this, they were not anxious to talk about it. No one said to me that this is pro forma, that this is what we do all the time. Do you see this as a signature?
But it is, though. It is something that they would do all the time. Just like the guy said, it's a high-profile case. It's getting a lot of attention. That means a lot of people's eyeballs are going to be on it, including those other victims' families who are like, hey, I know that guy, right? Or I've seen that guy around. Or, yeah, I've seen him here. He might have had some connection with this person and something had happened to that person. So does this connect to that? Could he have possibly done this? And they're going to ask those questions. And then police are going to be forced to look into it. On top of, like, just the police in general of themselves, they're dealing with Bryan Kohberger, right? They arrest him, they extradite him to Idaho. They know they have a profile for him now. They're getting all this information on him now too. So if they did have cold cases, of course they would look into it. Have they found anything? Have they said something that would make us believe it? I'm waiting. We're like halfway through the video though, and you still haven't given me any reason to believe that he is connected to anything else. Just that, well, the police are looking for it.
Type crime that might be noticeable in other cases?
I think it is a signature type crime. I mean, this is a vicious crime with a K-bar knife. It's unusual. It was a co-ed on campus. So if they're looking at something very specific that's unsolved with these parameters, they're probably looking in the right direction.
It's a signature crime. Like, this is not just somebody shot somebody. It's not like Bryan shot somebody in Idaho and now they're looking at him for somebody that did that in Pennsylvania. It's, he did this. He did this gruesome quadruple homicide. So is it possible he's also connected to these? But remember what we just said. He did this. So if he's found not guilty, what happens over here if to all the stuff they're trying to connect him to? What happens there?
Step on this. Councilor Garagos, the other thread of speculation that's out there right now, this I can actually report. I know that they're doing it. But we also hear, well, they're looking very closely at how he may have known.
So that right there, that was a quick little transition, right? And Cuomo, he was pretty good at that because he's saying, well, we know that they're looking into him, but there's some speculation. So now what he's about to say is just his thoughts, right? Just what's being said, what other people are thinking. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. That's very important because he's probably about to say something crazy.
How do you deal on the defense side with someone who has no reason to know these girls, knowing these girls are following them on social media or even being in their DMs?
Why would he have no reason to know them? They had public profiles, right? If he's able to friend request them, he was able to see that they exist, who they are. They're pretty girls in the same town as him. I couldn't even tell you how many people's names and faces that I know that may not know mine. Because, I mean, you're just around people, you know? Like, that's so crazy. How could he possibly know these girls without a reason to know them? Like, he saw them, he got a crush on them, he saw them online, and he doesn't have to know people. You don't have to know people in 2023 to know about people. Creepy, right?
I think the first thing that the defense has done, I guarantee you, they've already taken a deep dive into the social media. That's one of the first things you do. Besides running background checks, that's one of the other tasks that you give your people to do in a defense is, I want everything on social media. I want a deep dive. Right. I want you to scrub it and tell me what's there. You know, there was also reported early on that there may have been in the search at his apartment or location some other indicia or connection to the victims of this.
Yeah, I mean, the rumors that he followed them all on Instagram, that he liked every post, that he had pictures ripped from Instagram to his phone. Yeah. When they prove that, when they show that in court, then we'll know that for sure. Of course, the defense went through to see what all that was, and they're gonna have their own story for that. Maybe he did message them several times. Maybe he just thought they were pretty. Why does that prove that he did this because he liked the girls? I mean, look at him. I bet a bunch of people would like him. That's where the defense is gonna go with this. Is his profile connected to any of these other crimes over here? Haven't heard anything about a different case though. I mean, have you guys heard about another case? Like, if you have, let me know in the comments below. Is he connected to some other case? Is he suspected? Has somebody's family member spoke out and said, maybe he did this to my person because my person was killed in a way similar to this? Is there anything like that? Or is this just dragging Bryan Kohberger's name to try to make him seem like he's more capable of doing this if we suspect him of doing this and this and this also? I'd like to know what you guys think about it. So, nothing. This was a report about nothing. I am sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to clickbait the hell out of this. And I might too. I don't know. But it's ridiculous. This is nothing. It's a big nothing burger. There's nothing coming out that says, yes, Bryan Kohberger is involved in this, or this single case here matches what happened here, or we're very interested in what this case has to show us because it has more than one or two of the same characteristics of this over here that is so gruesome that most things don't match it. What do you guys think about it? For real, let me know down in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.